Hey guys, Robb Wolf here. So today we're going to work our way through a little bit of a very simple recipe based around making bone broth. Bone broth is fantastic for a lot of different reasons. From a sustainability standpoint, we're eating snout to tail, using the whole animal, and I think that's a really important consideration. From a nutritional standpoint, bone broth is pretty rich in the amino acid glycine, and glycine tends to be a little bit deficient in muscle cuts, which is most of what we tend to eat. If you eat more of the offal, the internal organs, and also bone broth, then we get a lot of glycine. Might be some anti-aging benefits to consuming more glycine. So what I'm gonna do today for this project, I've historically used a stovetop pressure cooker. And pressure cookers are great because they cook at a higher pressure, which also means a higher temperature, so you tend to cook the food faster, and you can also tend to extract more of the nutrients out of the food, particularly things like what we're shooting for with the bone broth. Today I'm using an Instapot. Michelle Tam, Nom Nom Paleo, Charles and Julie Mayfield from Paleo Comfort Foods. Love the Instapot. I'm just getting my feet under me with this, but it's a fantastic product. Plugs in instead of throwing it on the stovetop. Super simple, easily programmable. You can do a zillion different things with it. I have no stock in Instapot, unfortunately, but it's a super cool item. But I wanted to mention really quickly, so I've got a bucket of bones here. I just take bones as we make them. We eat dinner, I throw them in here. I actually have found that instead of a storage unit like this, I use a 1 gallon freezer bag that has a zipper on it, like a really nicely, easily opened zipper. And so I'll just throw the bones in there. Some people are kind of neurotic and they want all their chicken bones separate and all their beef or lamb bones separate. I throw everything in together. So if you want to separate those things out, that's great. These things work pretty well, but I really like the freezer bags because they kind of fit in the freezer a little bit easier. And when you get done with them, let's say you empty this stuff out, like what I'm going to do here. When you are done with the freezer bag, you can actually stick it back in the freezer, just roll it up, seal it, and stick it in the door of the freezer, and then you can use that thing again because you don't really have a hygiene issue in that regard because it's being kept cold. So we put our bones in the Instapot or in your pressure cooker. Of course, you could just use any type of soup pot for doing this, just tends to take a little bit longer. Then we cover this stuff with some water. Just gonna fill this up a little bit. So this guy is still frozen, clearly. That's kind of another benefit of the freezer bags. Basically, you just wanna cover the bones or get as close to covering the bones as you can. See how this thing goes. Okay, we're pretty good on that. I need to leave a little bit of extra room on that so that as this thing comes apart, it's actually gonna have some room to go somewhere. One thing that you can do, it's actually a great flavor and it tends to pull a little bit more calcium and minerals out of the bones. Use some apple cider vinegar. I just do a tablespoon or two in this whole mix. Some people don't like it. I definitely like the flavor. Makes it smell pretty good while you're cooking. So I'll put a couple of tablespoons of that in there. Since my bones are standing up and I'm probably going to be unable to put the lid back on the pot, which I had not really anticipated that when I was getting ready to do this, I'll just skip to the finished product, but the basic idea, you put the lid back on there, whether we're talking about a stovetop model or the Instapot. The cool thing about these pressure cookers, it only takes a couple hours of cooking and these things are done. I will get them up to pressure, let them go at pressure for maybe an hour to 2 hours, turn it off. So I tend to do this in the evening. Then I let the temperature come down overnight, and then I decant that liquid off into mason jars, which are clearly reusable and pretty awesome. And I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little cap of fat on the top. That's fine. You can use that as part of your cooking, but I leave that on there. Once you decant this off and stick it in the refrigerator, that fat cap actually creates a really airtight seal, so this stuff will tend to last longer. You should get several weeks, maybe even a month to month and a half with these things if you don't have that fat cap on there. Some people will strain this. I don't. If you don't want the fat as part of, say, like a soup stock or another product that you're going to make, you can just peel that stuff off when you get ready to go. So hopefully you find that helpful. Maybe I'll try doing this again some other time when the bones actually lay down and I can put the lid on the pot. But again, just to recap, you save your bones. The plastic containers are okay for that, but I actually prefer freezer bags, the 1 gallon freezer bags with the resealable zipper. You save that stuff until you get about a gallon bag full, and then you use the 4-quart Instapot or pressure cooker, throw that in, add some apple cider vinegar if that suits your fancy. It definitely improves the flavor in my opinion, and also helps you to extract more of the minerals. Seal it up, cook it for a couple hours, let the temperature come down, decant it into a mason jar, put that in the refrigerator, and then these things are good for a month to a month and a half.